Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone, and we're still continuing with cricket, the gentleman's game they call it as well. The West Indies senior men's team is currently, of course, in New Zealand, acclimatizing to local conditions. After an incident-free period of quarantine, the Windies will play New Zealand in 2 tests and 3 T20 matches from November the 27th to the 15th of December. Now, speaking to the media, Windies bowling coach Roddy Estwick says he has asked his bowlers to show patience.
If you assess the pitch early, you will know what length to bowl, what line to bowl, and then you work out which batsman you're bowling at, and you're trying to work out their strengths and weaknesses. So it's all about assessing very early and sticking to your game plan. And I find in New Zealand as well, something you've got to be very, very patient, because the outfields are very, very quick, and all your bad balls are punished. So it's all about being patient, being aggressive, and assessing the pitch correctly.
Yeah, Estwick also explained the role being played by the Grenadian left-arm fast-medium pacer Preston McSween in helping the batsmen to prepare for the likes of Trent Boult and Neil Wagner.
One of the reasons I think, I don't want to prompt what the selectors did, or I'm not a selector, but I think one of the things that the selectors probably did was to bring young Preston McSween here to New Zealand. You know, he's someone left arm like Trent Boult. He swings the ball both ways, so that will give the batsman adequate practice. But for me, I think everybody has to have their own game plan. Everybody has to have their own way of playing. You can't expect Craig Brathwaite to play like Jermaine Blackwood. You have to play it your own way. You have to assess. We've got all the footage out. If the footage have gone off of all the bowlers, we've got the app. They can have a look, and you come up with your game plan, and you go in the nets. We've got 6 weeks. We've got 6 weeks to do that, and you've got to find a way to deal with every single bowler. You know, you look at the New Zealand attack as a very, 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 very good attack, and you've got to really work out a system, work out a game plan, and then you go and execute. But you've got to play it your own way. You can't expect everybody to play the same way. So all the batsmen have got to know how they want to play, and they've got to trust the process, and they've got to trust the skills.
Yeah, so Boult and Wagner have reaped huge success against the West Indies, going by the numbers from the last 2 Test series played in the Caribbean and in New Zealand by the Caribbean men in New Zealand in 2013, 2014 and 2017, 2018. In 5 games together, the left-armers have bagged a combined 52 wickets against the Windies, Boult taking 30 and Wagner 22. Now, the former West Indies pacer turned commentator Tony Gray joins us now to talk about the task facing the Windies batsmen. Tony, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Oh, I think we've lost him. We had him a minute ago, and now we've lost him. But your thoughts, George, very quickly on what Roddy Estwick had to say, because it is, I guess, a no-brainer that you, in preparing to face Boult and Wagner, you would go for a left-arm seamer to give them as much practice against that format of bowling, or that style of bowling, as you get ready for this series. McSween has been a decent bowler over the years. Of course, he went to the 2014 World Cup with the West Indies team. But your thoughts on Estwick's comments there?
What intrigued me from what Roddy Estwick says was his statement that the batsmen have the footage of the bowlers in action. They have the app also to guide them, and that they have to really fashion their counter to what the bowlers have to offer. So what is intriguing about that is this: is it that the batsmen are shown this footage, that they are given access to the app to really in granular detail dissect what the bowlers are doing by themselves, or is it that the coaching staff sits, looks at what the bowlers do, looks at the characteristic of each batsman, writes a program, writes up a plan, outline, sketches an approach for the batsmen, and say, okay, practice this for the next few weeks until you go and face. If he varies this way, you vary that way. If he varies that way, you vary that way. And of course, use your own technique and your own application and get through. Because for me, that's why you have a coach. So if it is that the batsmen are given the footage and say, okay, go and fashion your own counter to Boult and Wagner and company, I don't have a problem with that.
All right, Tony Gray now joins us to talk about the West Indies batsmen getting ready to face this potent New Zealand attack. Tony, welcome to the SportsMax Zone.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lance. Good evening to everybody.
Yeah, well, Tony, we know that you were a right-arm fast bowler in your playing days. What particular difficulty would left-arm pace bowlers present for the West Indies batsmen, talking about Bolt and Wagner getting ready to shower some pace at the Windies?
Well, let's first talk about the angle. They're coming from a different angle. It looks like a right-arm fast bowler coming around the wicket. So it's a different proposition for our West Indian batsmen. But two left-arm pacers presented different situations to deal with. Of course, Wagner hits the ball into the turf, and obviously he looks to be aggressive. Ball swings the ball both ways. So it's a lot of adjustments that our batsmen need to make against these two left-arm pacers.
Well, when we look at our batsmen then, John Campbell and Craig Brathwaite to be the openers, one left-hander and a right-hander, can you assess for me the task facing these two batsmen who, well, one is a right-hander and one is a left-hander, who will face the new ball?
Well, obviously I mentioned that Ball swings the ball all over the place. We saw it in the most emphatic way today. In the IPL final, he was able to get the ball to move. And Campbell, for example, inexperienced. He's a Jamaican batsman, and most times Jamaican batsmen play through the line of the ball because of the pitches they have grown up on. So he's going to expect the ball to swing. So he's got to play the ball late. But when I say play the ball late, it is not just waiting the ball to come to him. He has got to be assertive and play with the movement of the ball. Same thing with Craig Brathwaite. Craig Brathwaite obviously has some technical issues. He's a bottom-handed player, and he's got to be a lot more mobile in the crease as a opening batsman against bowlers who can swing the ball and could bowl at good pace. So I think that you want to see both opening batsmen, improve on their technique and their mobility at the crease.
So Tony, the inclusion then of Preston McSween on tour, in his simulations, in his work rather with the batsmen in the nets, what specifically would the coaching staff be expecting him to do?
Well, yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think the West Indies selectors have done the right thing. I mean, the Eswick, the bowling coach, spoke about him having to prepare the West Indian batsmen. But I think that the West Indian selectors are futuristic also, because he's got great attributes, he's got great ability, and he's definitely one for the future. But simulation is important to the actual event. And if you look at the makeup of the New Zealand side, it's about two left-arm pacers. You've got guys who can bowl at 90 miles an hour. So he's trying to use, Philip Simmons is trying to use McSween not only to prepare the team, but to simulate, obviously, what is to come with the New Zealand team.
The obvious question then, Tony, is why Preston McSween and not any other left-arm seamer in the region? Was he the best option to take to New Zealand for this purpose?
Yeah, I think that when you're looking at simulation, you have to be as close as possible to the actual event. And it's not just about atmospheric conditions, because the team would have been in New Zealand for quite some time. The first game starts on the 27th of this month, the first one-day game. But I think that you have to simulate closest to the opposition. And I think that when you look at McSween, he can bowl at fair pace. He's a fast bowler, in my opinion. He can bowl wicket-taking deliveries. And you're going to get those type of deliveries against New Zealand with the two left-arm pacer in Wagner and Bolt.
Yeah. Raymond Reefer was in England. Why not him given this task?
Well, I mean, I was surprised that he was in the test squad, first of all, in England, because I don't think that he would be impactful in test match cricket. He's more suited for the white ball cricket, the 50-over games and the T20 games. And I don't think that he would have created problems for the English batsmen, because they're accustomed to that type of bowling. And he doesn't have the pace. But he is, he is there as a reserve, and he will help where the angle is concerned as a left-arm pacer.
Just one more thing on McSween, Tony, because we remember that in 2014, McSween was picked on the West Indies under-19 team to the World Cup then, at the expense of Jofra Archer, himself and Marquino Minley. I think there was Ray Jordan and Jerome Jones, the Barbadian pacer, there as well. So having said that, do you think McSween has disappointed us in not transitioning from his under-19 days to where he is now, 5-6 years later?
Not really. I think that when you look at the standard of West Indies cricket, it is not a high standard. It's not like playing against Michael Holding or, in his case, playing against Gordon Greenidge or Desmond Haynes. So the standard is low, so players take longer to develop, and we have to be conscious of that. And I think the West Indies selectors are conscious of giving players a good run. I think that when you look at Jofra Archer, from the under-19s to perhaps under-25s, he has really and truly improved a lot because the English environment helps with that. They have specific coaching, and there's a lot of specificity being done with their players to develop very quickly. It's something that we have to look at because we have that level of talent at the under-19 level, but when it comes up to developing players, further developing them, we have some problems because we don't have the systems, and we need to re-educate our coaches.
Yeah. Are you suggesting, Tony, that if Jofra Archer had remained in Barbados and the Caribbean, he wouldn't be where he is today?
I don't think so. I think it would have taken longer for him to develop the way we have seen him develop and the way he's taken the international game by storm. He's just been a fantastic addition to not just the English team, but world cricket in general.
All right, Tony, thank you very much. All the best.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I wanted to ask him about the issue concerning the angles because, you know, we do these discussions and we assume that everybody is up on the cricket as we are. So he spoke about the right-hander, the right-hand fast bowler delivering at a particular angle. But why? Why is it that the batsmen from the formative years coming up, why is it that they set themselves in a routine where they are used to playing fast bowling from a certain angle? And the bowling machines as well, based on my understanding, is set up to deliver like a right-hand fast bowler does. So you spend your whole career trying to bat, practicing to bat right hand, right hand, right hand. The moment you come up against someone bowling left-handed, even if they're not moving the ball, you're going to be in trouble because it's just different and alien to you. And I'm wondering, why would batsmen be coached to do that? Break time, back with more.